So I've had this guy in my hands for over 4 days. I've got some thoughts and opinions on it, like I always do. But instead of trying to really convince you that this is for you, I want to put out the caveat that this is not for everybody. And I'm going to explain, so stick around. What's up and welcome back. For those that are new here, my name's Original Dobo, and on my channel I do drone and tech related content, so if that's something that interests you, you may want to hit that subscribe button. Also, I'll link my Twitter and Instagram down below. I'm pretty active there and it's the easiest way to reach me. So when I first saw the Smart Controller at CES, I was really excited about it. For me, time is valuable. When I'm shooting real estate or doing homes, I want to be able to be in the air as quick as possible, and I want to know that my shots are perfectly exposed and in focus and in frame. Realtors hate when you have to go back and do work twice. So with the Crystal Sky, it's been absolutely awesome to have that extra brightness and a dedicated monitor that just works with my DJI product has been pretty great. And then obviously the Smart Controller was released and I was thinking, wow, I can really speed up my workflow a little bit more by not having to connect wires, just basically throw this in my bag and get out to the properties. So with that being said, let's dive into the specs a little bit so you know what you're getting. So on this controller, we have a full 5.5 inch 1080p screen at 1000 nits of brightness. There's a 5000 milliamp hour battery that is non-removable. You can charge that via micro USB-C. On the top side of the controller, top backside actually, you'll find that there's an HDMI port, a full-size USB, and a single SD card slot. On board, it has 16 gigs of storage, 4 gigs of RAM, and we don't know what silicone this is running, but if I had to guess, it's probably some sort of Snapdragon processor. Built into this controller is Android 7.1.1, running a custom skin that DJI has created. There are no Google services on this controller, but if I had to guess, we can probably install certain things to make that work. When I was at CES, I did notice that one of the smart controllers did have Google Play installed. What's nice about this controller is the sticks still come off, and they actually made a clever way to store them. Underneath the antenna is where you can actually put the sticks for safekeeping, which I think is pretty cool. I would probably recommend getting a screen protector for this. Like, absolutely get a screen protector if you're going to be storing this in a backpack or bag. I can totally see this is going to get scratched up pretty easily. I'll link some down in the description below from Amazon. One of the ones I got, none of them are quite available yet, but definitely put a screen protector on this. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about first that bother me about this product is the fact that my version has a pop-in sound on the right hand corner of the screen. Now, if I press firmly or slightly to like move my gimbal back and forth, that is how I noticed it. I use that feature where I slide the gimbal back and forth to try to give myself more complex movements. And that's how I noticed that there was a pop-in sound on my screen. Now, chances are I could just have gotten a bad version and DJI will probably warranty my controller out. But for the time being, I'm going to continue using it. The other thing that sort of bothers me with this is the fact that I have to connect it to wireless or download the maps offline, which is sort of a pain in the neck. Not really super ideal, but not really a deal breaker. It would have been cool if this version could have had LTE built in, or something where we could piggyback off of the phone a bit easier than always having to connect it to your smartphone every time you go out. Again, not a deal breaker, but I would like to see like an enterprise version of this with LTE built in. I think that would be beneficial to enterprise pilots. The other thing is right now, currently today, it only works with the Mavic lineup, and that excludes the Mavic Enterprise lineup. It is not currently functioning. You cannot even connect to the device, even if you install the application. We have heard rumors that in February, there will be a firmware update to go ahead and rectify this. So with all that being said, why do I believe that this device is not for everybody? Well, to start off, and probably the most obvious thing is the price. It's $650. And if you were just a recreational pilot and you're only flying maybe 1 to 3 times a month, that's a lot of money to have sort of sit in there. Now, with that being said, if you're a professional pilot or somebody who flies more than once a month, or I should say more than 3 or 4 times a month, this may be an adequate investment. For me, to have that extra brightness and the speed and agility of just basically pulling this out of my bag and getting it up and going is worth it to me. Now, this controller is really not without fault because again, it is running Android and updates do tend to lag behind, but hopefully since DJI is now controlling the hardware aspect of things, we can get some priority updates for this device. I think that's the way it should be. But something you want to keep in mind is when the developers do create apps for Android, they are working with so many different OEMs that we have to take into account that unlike iPhones where it's all one set hardware, we are dealing with multiple lines of hardware, which can really put things in a bit of a snafu for a developer. Now, performance wise, I absolutely enjoy this device. It is so much more snappier than my 5.5 inch Crystal Sky. It is crazy responsive on the screen, which is something that I complained a lot about with my Crystal Sky in the months time that I've had it, was the fact that I didn't feel it was quite responsive to my touch, but this smart controller is basically the equivalent of a smartphone to me today. It just responds to your touches so much faster. And the Crystal Sky boasted that you would get a better experience with the monitor than you would with the smartphone. In my experience, I really wasn't getting a better experience, but I sacrificed performance for brightness with the Crystal Sky. But with the smart controller, I feel like I'm getting the best of both worlds. I'm getting performance and I'm getting brightness, which is what I really want when I'm flying. Now, you got to also factor in the fact that this is about $190 more than the 5.5 inch Crystal Sky. And again, it is a very niche-like product. But for me, to have that added feature of a controller built in with the radio, and they've sort of future-proofed some of the signals, makes me wonder that they're going to allow you to use this with more than just the Mavic lineup eventually. My hope is that if you have a smart controller and they release another product, that they will sell just the product without a remote. So maybe it'll save you some money, but that'll remain to be seen later on down the road. But as of right now, it's a hard product for me to recommend to just that hobbyist flyer. I love the smart controller, but to recommend it to somebody at $650 is a lot. And again, everybody puts their own value on price. Now, this controller is something that I feel like I need personally in my line of work, because I want to be able to see things clearly. Now, if you are, again, just that recreational pilot, I don't know if $650 is quite worth it for the price. It's a lot of coin to swallow, and it really doesn't do much more than a smartphone. That's just my honest thoughts on this, but it's not a bad device. Again, I think $650 is a little bit on the higher end of things. I would be willing to pay $550 for this device, but again, I don't know. That's just my thought. And I know I'm sort of rambling on here, but from a pilot standpoint, if you need a tool to do your job, you really can't put a price on it. So for me, the price is okay. But for somebody else, I know a lot of people have argued that the price is off and the product is not complete. No product is really ever complete. They usually put it in the masses' hands so that way they can start working through bugs. I know it sucks to be a beta tester, but a lot of times we are the testers for products. You don't know it, but a product always comes out half-baked, and as people find things that maybe an engineer or QA didn't find, that's when things start getting fixed. But all in all, I am enjoying the device. I feel like it'll be added to my workflow a little bit easier. But if you want a full-on comparison between the smart controller and the Crystal Sky, drop a comment and a like on this video, and I'll do a full comparison in detail and simulate the performance between the two. But for me, I think this is a worthy buy, and also just the performance aspect is pretty damn good. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. As always, guys, stay original.